Would you carry around a phone that is slimmer than last year's model, but has a camera bump so huge it could practically stand the phone up on it? That's exactly what Samsung might be giving us with the Galaxy S26 Ultra, and here's the twist. That massive bump might not even come with better cameras. Sounds odd, right? Well, let's break it down. Stick with me until the end because I promise. This isn't just about design, it's about how you lines feel holding this phone every single day. So the leaks are rolling in and Samsung's next Ultra is shaping up to be slimmer than before. We're talking about 7.9mm compared to the 8.2mm of the S25 Ultra. Sounds sleek, sounds refined, maybe even elegant. But then you see the cameras, and the moment you see them, your eyes widen. Because those lenses are sticking out like skyscrapers. Last year, they popped out about 2.4mm, manageable. This year, almost double, for 0.5mm of protruding glass. Which means at its thickest point, this phone could be 12.4mm thick. For reference, that is chunkier than Google's Pixel 9 and Pixel 10, and when you're holding it, trust me, you'll notice. Now you'd think bigger bump means bigger sensor, right? That's the natural assumption. Bigger hardware usually brings bigger improvements, except not this time. According to the leaks, the telephoto camera is still using the same 50-megapixel sensor we already have. The size hasn't changed, the specs haven't changed. In fact, it could end up being the smallest telephoto sensor on any flagship next year. Which makes you wonder, why are we dealing with this massive bump if nothing inside it is new? The answer might be that Samsung isn't building for today. They're preparing for tomorrow. Think about it. If they want to drop in even bigger sensors in the future, they need the space. And maybe the S26 Ultra is laying the groundwork. It wouldn't be the first time. Samsung has always loved design consistency. Just look at the back of the Galaxy A16 compared to the S25 Ultra, not that different. And the Fold 7, it has the same oversized bump, but in that case it made sense because the phone is so thin. With the S26 Ultra, though, it doesn't feel necessary. It feels like we're carrying extra bulk just to wait for an upgrade that isn't even here yet. But let's talk about the part that really matters. Real life, you set the phone down on a table and suddenly it rocks back and forth like a seesaw. You put it in your pocket and the bump catches just a little. And no matter what the actual measurement says, your eyes don't lie. Your brain doesn't lie, you'll see a chunky phone. And that matters because when we buy a flagship, we don't just buy specs, we buy the way it makes us feel. Other companies have solved this in clever ways. Google spreads its camera module across the back in a bar, so the phone stays balanced. Apple stacks its cameras diagonally in a neat square. But Samsung's sticking with the separate lens look, and now those lenses are poking out further than ever. Maybe it looks bold to some, but to others it'll feel like a step backwards. Now the big question, does any of this matter if the cameras perform well? Some of you will say no, and I get that. If the photos blow you away, you don't care about a bump. You just care about the result. But here's the problem. If Samsung isn't actually giving us better sensors this year, then what are we trading off for? You can't ask people to accept a bulkier design with no payoff. That's where the frustration kicks in. And let's be real, phones are emotional purchases. You pull it out at a coffee shop. You set it on the desk at work. You feel it in your hand. And if it feels compromised, if it feels like unfinished business, that affects the excitement. It chips away at that premium magic, and Samsung knows this. Which is why this design choice is so surprising. So where does this leave us? If the leaks are true, the S26 Ultra will be slimmer on paper, but bulkier in practice. It'll wobble without a case, it'll look thicker than it really is. And the actual hardware inside those big lenses won't be any better than what we already have. The only real argument is that this is future-proofing. That Samsung is preparing for the next step, even if it means holding us back now. And maybe that's fine, maybe it's not. That's the choice we'll all have to make. So here's what I want to know from you. Would you put up with a massive camera bump if the cameras themselves didn't really change, or is that a deal breaker? Drop your thoughts in the comments below because I am curious how many of you would be okay with this trade-off. And if you made it this far, thank you. Seriously, you're the reason I get to make these videos. If you enjoyed this breakdown, don't forget to hit the like button, subscribe for more, and stick around because the next leak could completely flip the story we're hearing today. Until then, keep your phone steady and maybe your table too.